We are live, I think. Just on my side. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's a delay. Right, there we go. Let's see then. Is it loading? I see Liam's in here. Hello. Right, let's begin then. Hello everyone and welcome back to Sendix Weather Channel. Today we're going to be doing our we're going to be having a look at the main models once again, because the risk of a cold spell is constantly increasing, and we'll have a look at what the latest data is showing. We're just sat on the dashboard at the moment while we get some people in here, hopefully, and yeah, let's get straight on with it. Now live on your channel. There we go. Right, we're on it. I think this is now live on your channel, so we should be good to go and set it going. Right, I think that's go. If we could get a hello from some people, I'll get alright test in the chat and let me know if it's all working well. We've only just started it, but let's just start a bit slower today. Normally I go head first into the data and it's done within 20 minutes. I'll move that along a little bit. There we go. Right, shall I get some? See if I can find some music-y stuff. Let's go then. So how's everyone doing today? Everyone back at work next week. Oh, and also, as some of you have been messaging me saying, can't beat a cup of tea. I've got to agree. Well, let me get the thingy on. But yeah, we're just having a look at the data today. Obviously, there's the risk of possible cold snap or cold spell. But how cold will it be, and is there the possibility of any winteriness? Well, it's for us to find out on today's update. Let's have a look. Right. Put that in there. Right. Should we go with it then? Let's go with it. Right. Start off then. And hopefully some people do obviously get in latest. This is the UK Met Office run. So obviously we're using the 12s of the data now, the latest data, because we want to be as up to date as possible. That's what we do around here. So we're going to start with the UK Met. And it obviously to start with, we have a slack westerly flow. But it's still quite dry. Maybe northwestern regions are being influenced by areas of low pressure running to the north, which may affect areas in the north, as I just said. But areas in the south are still moderately dry, with winds in from off the Atlantic. However, the high builds over the top of the country for the next few days, 1040 millibar area of high pressure, keeping the weather quite settled. And then after this, high pressure begins to move westwards eventually, as we move into Wednesday, Thursday. Let's see. See if... No, it doesn't pick up pigeon. Oh, well. Oh, sorry. Sorry people that wanted pigeon in my live stream, but you can't hear him. He's squawking away. Oh, you've got some good news for us. I've heard rumours of the white stuff. Well, Danib, I think you might be in luck today, because it does look like it is on the forecast. But anyway, this is the UK Met run. So on Friday the 15th, you can see that high pressure just off the chart has begun to move westwards up towards Greenland in the Atlantic. Low pressure is towards Scandinavia, and winds around that are beginning to come in from the north. The high is still over the top of the country, so it's still quite settled and generally quite mild. However, as you can see, the high strengthens, the low pressure moves further eastwards, and this is the strongest and coldest run of today. The winds start to arrive from north, and quite far north as well. As you can see, the isobars go back towards the poles, and winds are in from the north. Yes, I can tell you're very excited about that. Me too when I first saw the charts, but it probably won't verify, will it? But with this, winds are in from the north and the northeast, and with this pattern, the -5 line is just beginning to drift in from the north. You can see some very cold air just to our north, which would begin drifting in, and this would allow wintry showers, especially in northern regions. What am I saying? Northern regions could see patches of snow. Just make sure everything's all right. Next, we'll have a look at the icon. So, similar pattern at the beginning. High pressure over the top and just to the west of the country. Moves out westwards towards Greenland, and we pull down a northerly wind. Quite unsettled, as you can see. There's little like kinks in the isobars, which could be like troughs. Areas of low pressure. As the cold air sinks southwards, which could allow moisture and could mean the snow showers. There's this little low pressure here. Obviously, this is a jet stream. The black line is a jet stream. This low pressure is being carried along the jet stream, and you'd expect to go on a northwest-southeast trajectory, which would bring a snow event to areas of northern England and Scotland, because it's bumping into the cold air, which warm air versus cold air, and you get a snow event, which could actually happen. Considering the air masses are cold enough. 2 metre temperatures, look at that, on Monday at midnight, if this is correct, widely down towards freezing. And even in the day on Sunday, it's only getting up to 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees on eastern coasts, closer to slightly milder air masses in the sea. Next, we'll have a look at the fun run, the GFS. Everyone's favourite run. High pressure building in. Well, let me go on this. High pressure builds in, moves out to the west, moves out into the Atlantic. Doesn't strengthen enough though, but again, eventually this high pressure does build towards Greenland, a mid-Atlantic ridge. Doesn't build as strongly, so we actually have more of a northwesterly tilt, which means it would still be cooling down, but not as significantly so as the Icon and the UK Met. So the high does slip southwards and brings more of a westerly, northwesterly, so mainly dry and around average. You can see there are air masses moving in which are slightly cooler. Temperature deviation shows this it's around average, nothing very fancy. Eventually though, the high pressure goes into retrogression up towards Greenland, and we get a very unstable northerly flow, which is quite cold and would bring the risk of snow showers quite widely. Obviously, trying to pick up snow at short notice or at long range notice is quite hard to do, as it's still far out and the pattern's still not even 100% confirmed yet. So we can't really be doing that yet. But what I would say is if this come off like this, you can see there's still a bit of a block just to the north. It's a weak block towards Iceland, which is meaning low pressures go on a southerly trajectory, which just brings more snow events, possible snow events. However, the mild air does break through towards the very end, but it's a long way off and is obviously uncertain. As I always say, always uncertain, always uncertainty in the long range. And you can't even get the pattern right in a few days' time. But this looks very cold and quite wintry as well, especially in the east. And obviously there'll be snow showers pushing into the north of Scotland. We have a look at the chart data for that run. As you can see, this is the run. So obviously we don't get the push of cold air until longer than the other runs. But obviously the brief cooler air does move in for Scotland. So there is the possibility of winteriness over the hills. Then it goes a bit milder for a few days before the cold air does move in around 10 days' time. And look, snow event through southern parts of England, into Birmingham, extending eastwards into eastern counties, maybe even into parts of Wales, the Midlands. Could see a snow event there, but obviously it's a long way off, so wouldn't verify. Probably. You never know. Towards the end of the run, though, there's many opportunities for snow events in that colder air mass, and things, as I said, do pop up closer to the time. It's too far out to say anything with certainty, but what I will say is it does eventually go cold just a bit later than the other runs have been showing. Next, move on to the GEM, then the Canadian model. This one's been a bit pessimistic about the cold air. But today it does look a little bit better. High pressure does move out to the west earlier. We get a brief northwesterly into a northerly. Winds in from the north. Obviously we're going to get some cold air. High pressure blocking towards Greenland. The mid-Atlantic ridge up towards Greenland, and some quite cold air moving in from the north on the northerly winds. -5 line. moving in, -10 line just to the north of Scotland, so cold enough for snow. Temperature deviation. The blues are in. The blues are in business. And below average. Plentifully below average for snow showers. And actually the high pressure, as you can see at the end of the run, is actually extending. Might even break off from the main high. And it's becoming quite a sustained blocked feature, but obviously that's uncertain and unreliable. But there's a big high pressure block in the Atlantic towards Greenland, low pressure to our east towards Scandinavia, and winds in from the north. Obviously Scandinavia and Norway are getting the brunt of the cold, but we're still on the periphery and still bringing in the -5 line, so pretty good. And finally, the ECMWF model here is showing a pretty similar pattern for the next few days. Then it's a bit more brutal with the cold. The northwesterly into the northerly wind by the 17th of November. Low pressure systems moving in, like that is quite a cold air mass, you'd say. So there is snow risks quite widely there, even by the end of the run, where low pressures to the northwest, to the west. I should say low pressure to the west, and low pressure also just to our northeast. Winds are still in from the northwest, and this low you'd expect with a jet stream just to going to our south would go along the jet stream and go to the south of the country, which could provide a snow event, funnily enough, even though it's only the 20th of November. But it would depend. Yes. Hello, how you doing, Stephen? How you doing? But obviously with this temperature deviation below average, cold enough for snow, cold enough for any winteriness really, rain, sleet and snow, even in the south. But I would expect, obviously, with elevation, you're only increasing the risk of winteriness. Got 8 people in here and 5 likes on stream. Thank you very much for tuning in. Yes, Stephen, 251. It's crazy, isn't it? One of my weather videos has got like 5,000 views, which is incredible. Thank you all for watching. But again, obviously, it looks quite cold. The general theme is for it to go colder. As you can see, we've got the Manchester charts. I've just brought them up here. And the pattern is pretty confirmed now. I'd say besides the GFS, look at the GFS run today, going mild outlier and then dropping well below. But as you can see, it looks like quite a decent cold spell and plenty of chances to see rain, sleet and snow even in the south, I'd assume. We'll have a look at London in a minute. But you can see the runs are getting down to the -5 line there. Whoops, I don't know what I clicked there. The runs are getting down to the -5 line though, which is plentiful enough for which is where you need to be, sorry, for snow, and many of the runs are going below, and even some towards -10, which is very cold for the time of year. 2 metre temperatures follow a similar trend. In fact, the average is going down to 2 or 3 degrees, which is definitely runs which are forecasting rain, sleet and snow. But as you can see, there's a plethora of runs here going below average. So if we have like a day where the winds are less tight, so if we have less tight isobars on some days where they're more open and the winds are lighter, then obviously overnight we could see harsh overnight frost. Some of these runs are suggesting down to -5 at the very end, which should be very extreme for them in the third week of November. And it'd be a big plunge from the 10 degree, 11 degree temperatures we've seen recently. Yes, get the snow emojis in the chat. If we have a look at London now, here, you can see even for London, even if you're in the south, you're not ruled out this time. It does actually go cold and even close to the -5 line, so that's quite shocking. So even in the south, there is the risk of colder air. We'll have a look at the snow in London just for a bit of fun. Don't take this literally. There are a few snow spikes, so if there are any low pressure systems moving up from the south, bumping into that cold air and they're at the right place at the right time, if the cold air's in place, could see a collision and could see a little bit of snow. Manchester looks way better. Well, that's quite a strong signal for snow to fall. Not accumulate necessarily, but to fall anyway. This is showing new snow depths, but that could just be totals. I'm not quite sure how the snow totals work on the Weather-Central website. If we have a look at the weather outlook here, and go to the models. London, yeah, the heat wave. Everywhere else is freezing cold, and then London gets the heat wave. If I go, I actually don't know where to go here. I forgot. I forgot my neighbour. Oh yeah, the GEM. This is it. GEM. So if we have a look here, we'll have a look at what this is showing for around that cold time. A little bit of winteriness over Scotland, northern parts of Scotland, and northwestern parts of Scotland. As the cold air initially moves in. Obviously, there's little low pressure systems bringing snow to Scotland. Could be quite heavy at times if this comes off. General snow showers in western parts of Wales and on along east coast. But more widespread snow is possible if low pressure systems do move in close to the time. You can see little lows are actually dashing around, which could hint at snow. And you can see general snow showers for northern England and northern parts of Scotland. Even hints of snow showers along eastern coasts, suggesting that the air mass is cold enough for this. And Scotland looks to be battered by snow there. And we see the temperatures. So there you go. So it's a little bit touch and go for eastern regions, but western regions are definitely cold enough to see snow. But as that initial air mass moves in through Monday, the -6, -7, -8, that is definitely cold enough for snow anywhere, especially to areas above 100 metres or so of elevation, I would say. If we go to, let me find it, ensemble probability forecast Manchester, and then if I do that, we can see here. This is updated now, so this is the latest run for Manchester, and it shows how many runs in the ensemble are showing, or all the 52 runs in the GFS, all 32 runs in the GFS, how many are showing snow falling. So as you can see, around the 18th of November there's 10, and around the 21st there's 11, so there's a low to moderate chance of snow, I would say, falling in central areas. If we have a look at 2 meter temperatures, obviously they're on a downwards trend. Mean sea level pressure is falling, but not significantly so, even though the high pressure is moving to the west. Very few runs are actually going for lower pressure. The wind speeds are, they could pick up a little bit. There's some tendency, if there's low pressure systems moving in and tightly packed isobars, could get even blizzards, which I'm not saying that's going to happen at all. But if it did come off like that, there will be blizzards possible. But who knows? It's still a little bit of a way away. Not sure how much of that you can see. Yeah, you can see. The gust wind speed obviously could pick up to 20 miles an hour or so, but don't take this too literally. And the snow depths, few snow depth spikes, but it's too far out to say if anything would settle. To be honest, I'd just be happy if any snow fell out of the sky. That'd be lovely to see, wouldn't it? See, there's different things such as heating bills to worry about now for many people. And all these different cost caps and cost stuff, but it would be nice to see a little bit of snow, I won't lie. If we have a look at London's snow row, it gets up to a total of 9 and averages about 4, some days 8 and 7. There's possibilities there for a bit of snow. 2 meter temperatures obviously still on a fall, even for London. Many of the runs aren't getting above 10 degrees. That's quite fair. As you can see, the gusts are light to moderate. And the snow depth spike, there's a few snow depth spikes there. One run getting up to 20 centimetres. That'd be a shock to the system for Londoners. And then next we'll have a look at the ECM charts. We're going to just do the yesterday's charts because we're not waiting for today's. We'll run through these very quickly. Week 1 is the 11th to the 18th of November. High pressure centre just over and to the west of the UK. Winds from that will be from the northeast around that, but it's still very mild. It's around average for most areas, slightly cooler than average in the southwest, and parts of central and northern Scotland are actually going 1 to 3 degrees above average. Week 2 will be the 18th to the 25th of November, and as you can see, this is when the cold snap is expected to happen. Proper block. Mid-Atlantic ridge, maybe not even a mid-Atlantic ridge, maybe the high breaks on this. High pressure centred up towards Greenland. and low pressure towards Scandinavia and over western parts of Europe besides the UK, and around that the winds are in from the north. If this high was a Atlantic ridge, it would block off the low pressure systems, but if it's a proper extended ridge up towards Greenland, the low pressures could slide through, and we could get some right fun and games with that, but obviously I'm not saying that's going to happen. If we have a look at the 500 HPA heights, again, extensive northern blocking out in the Atlantic up towards Greenland, covering many parts of the Greenland and Iceland. Low pressure is still centred to the east and winds in from the north. You'd expect the temperature anomalies to go below average, which they do. There you go, 1 to 3 degrees below average. Wow. Week 3, again, obviously we're not going to really concentrate too far past this, but we'll have a look. Looks like week 3, things revert more westerly or southwesterly, low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, winds in from the southwest, a more typical pattern for the final week of November. And the 500 HPA heights show this as well, and temperature anomalies you'd expect to go above average, and they do 1 to 3 degrees above average. Hello Sue, how are you doing? I saw you on Gav's live stream. How are you doing? Week 4 will be the 2nd to the 9th of December. Well, 3-week signals. High pressure is slightly up towards Greenland. It's in the Atlantic. However, there could be low pressure systems running through here, so it could be quite unsettled, even though the chart doesn't show that. 2nd to the 9th on week 4 on here shows blocking in the Atlantic again. Quite extensive blocking in the Atlantic, going up towards Greenland. Low pressure systems where this white area is, possibly. Winds could be in from, I don't know, the west or the northwest with this, depends on the positioning of the high. Temperature anomalies are expected to be above average. Of course they are. So obviously as we go into December, where your cold begins to build, things go above average, as you'd expect. Wow. Week 5, the 9th to 16th, again looks quite westerly, not much to say. Again, westerly or southwesterly with this. I'm glad to see you're doing great, Sue. Again, milder than average expected. And then, as we're getting close to Christmas, things are quite mild. Low pressure towards Greenland and Iceland, high pressure to the south towards Spain, and winds are in from the west. So it looks very mild, and quite very mild, yeah. 1 to 3 degrees above average. I'd expect it to be higher than that with a pattern like that, to be honest. Again, can't beat a cup of tea. If you don't like tea, then try it. I guarantee you'll like it. If we have a look at the ECM charts for the forecast, again, we'll run over it very quickly. In case you missed it, we've got it here. In case you missed the ECM forecast, because I've noticed a few of you have joined. Thanks for joining and watching. Again, high pressure to our west. Low pressure towards Scandinavia. Winds enter from the northwest, and then turn into a full-blown northerly. Low pressure running to the east. Slight little lows moving in, which brings the risk of rain, sleet and snow. And winds continue from the north. By the very end, the high pressure block is weakening and moving further westwards, allowing Atlantic flows, but this could be more interesting from a snow perspective, as the cold air is still wrapped in. And if we have a look at the precipitation charts for the ECM, you can see the high pressure out to the west and over the top of the country, keeping it very dry and settled, and relatively mild, but not necessarily at the surface, still around average. You see there's that cold front moving southwards. Behind that you can see showers turning wintry in the north, and areas of northern England may even see a little bit of snow over the tops of hills. And on the back edge we turn into the northerly winds, showers turn to snow in the north and along in parts of Wales, especially with elevation, but the elevation will reduce, like what's needed for you to see falling snow will probably reduce as the days go on. If the cold air persists for a long time, then the temperatures would be expected to drop. Even if the air mass is only -5, it's still quite cold for the time of year. As you can see by the 19th, this would be getting me some views if this came off, and so definitely something to talk about. Few eye candy chats with that. That low pressure I mentioned zipping through through southern parts of England, and on the northern edge, wrapped in the cold air, could see snow. So this is showing the Midlands northwards and into Wales, but take this with a pinch of salt, it's a long way off. Showing quite widespread snow there. And generally still in a cold air mass with showers around eastern coast. Sorry, I was reading the message. Western coast. Sorry, western and eastern coast. I see you, Stephen. What's your favourite brand of tea then? I mean, I would have said PG Tips, but I mean, whatever floats your boat. It used to be Yorkshire tea, but it's expensive and it's not as good as it used to be, quite frankly. I mean, if I could grow my own tea, then I probably would. if I knew how to do it, I probably would, because I drink probably about 20 cups of tea a day. Definitely not exaggerated figure. I drink plenty of tea, to be honest. Could say I'm addicted to tea. Nah. However, also I just wanted to mention, actually, you're taking me off topic, and I keep forgetting myself. I would say with this low pressure system out to the west, as it moves in, the cold air was still in place, as you saw, over this area. So, the Midlands northwards. So you would expect, as this low pressure bumps into the cold air, you could see quite a widespread snow event. But obviously, it's a bit of fun, and it's still a way out. But temperature deviation with that is still blues, so it's still colder than average. Ooh. A good cup of that. Right. So yeah, that's fun. Actually, the AIFS is out as well. And the CFS, oh god, they can't forecast snow model. Let's see what that's showing. Just out of interest, let's have a look at what the CFS model is forecasting. They can't forecast snow. The infamous Gav breakdown on every live stream fails. But to be fair, it's actually proven its worth today, on the 15th of November. This is all for fun, by the way, because this is the CFS. We can't trust it at all. It's experimental. High pressure beginning to move to the west, low pressure towards Scandinavia, and winds are beginning to drift in from the north, turning from the northwest to the north through Friday and into Saturday. Winds turn fully into the north, with the isobars extending from maybe even the poles there. That's a Svalbard. Svalbard's just there, so from Svalbard, I can't say the word, Svalbard. And winds are in from the north, so you'd expect the cold air to begin drifting southwards, and yes, the -5 line is into the country. Property, but yeah, I know, can't help it, can I? By Sunday, the northerly winds have fully set in, and everywhere's engulfed in this cold air, -5. So winds, snow showers in the north and east, you'd expect with this. Maybe along western coast as well. The winds go more northwesterly into Monday. -5 line still covering the country, which may allow some showers if they're in western coast to extend inlandwards possibly. But it looks like a very slack flow of northwesterly winds. There's no troughs or little features. However, this zipping low, this low here, is following the jet stream, and the jet stream is diving southwards, being pushed by the block, and this low would drift to the south and would produce a snow event you'd expect. Yes, wow. And another low just to the north, and as you can see, we're wrapped in the -5 line, so anywhere, possibly anywhere, especially, well, in southern regions, maybe over the mountains, or higher elevation above like 500 metres, but the Midlands northwards, as along this boundary, could see heavy snow. Most of Ireland, the -10 lines begin to drift into Scotland, but the Midlands, Northern England, but some parts of Northern England, if you get what I mean, could see snow, and obviously there's a little feature here that could be producing little parts of snow. Obviously, again, tentative signs, it's 9 days away, and it's snow. The wind's still returning from the north as that low pressure digs southwards, so everywhere could see winteriness with this, but it would be a lot drier. By the 11th, by the 21st, but 11 days in, the high pressure is beginning to topple and lose its strength. But again, we're still remaining from winds from the northeast, you can see. Winds in from Scandinavia from the northeast. But the air masses are beginning to weaken, so air masses are drifting away, and eventually the high pressure topples in. there's some cold air. There's a trough there through France. And in other parts of the Western Europe, so they're about to see their cold snap. As you can see, there's some colder air mixed in, the -10 degree isotherm there, but we're back into a milder air masses. And here comes the westerlies as we enter December. Mild. Little troughs, unsettled, westerly, very, very windy in the north, you'd expect with this. Polar vortex is powered up. Some people asked what the polar vortex is. Basically, this big blue area is the stratospheric polar vortex. It strengthens through the winter, weakens through February into March, and then it loses its strength if you get a breakdown or a split of the polar vortex, or if it starts to weaken the zonal winds or weaken it. I'll explain it in a video at some point, but if the polar vortex weakens down, you can see a split, which reduces the energy in the polar vortex, and it can lead to colder weather as there's less blocks surrounding Greenland. But as you can see, if we look at the northern hemisphere, there's not much blocking there. There's lots of blues, and as you can see, as the low pressures do clear to the eastwards, there could be little northerly snaps on the back edge of these lows, but it looks very mild and very zonal, with cooler and milder air masses in a very typical December month, I would say. But you never know. If there's the heights are beginning to rise to our west, as you can see, there's the Azores high, is just in the Atlantic to the west. If that begins to move northwards, we could see northerly winds, but at that stage it doesn't look too likely at all. So yes, if we have a look, I don't know if the UK Met Office does the charts. No, we can actually see though how cold the runs are showing. So if I go to the ECM, for example, we go to Europe and England, Wales and Ireland, and if we go for 850 HPA temperatures, then you can see, actually, just got that much better idea. We can see the whole now of the UK. I'm only using the ECM because it's typically the most reliable, but any of them could be right. There's very little variations. So as you can see, we're in milder or relatively mild air masses at the moment. Eventually, though, as that high pressure moves to the west, the northerly winds set in. Takes a little bit of time, but eventually by Sunday the 17th, we're all in these bluer colours. We're down into these blue colours now, and obviously anywhere, well, the -5 line is moving in, which is this blue line here. I'll highlight it in case you can't see it. I'm not sure, but this here is the -5 line. Not very well drawn. The -5 line is here though, and this is where the cold air boundary sits. As you can see, everywhere is engulfed in it, even in the parts of the south. And this is a slightly milder air mass with this low pressure system, which would bring the snow risk northwards. So to the parts of the Midlands and Wales, as that zips through, more northerlies and northwesterlies, but the cold air is beginning to retreat or lose its strength, lose its potency. I bet you don't know that this has been some... Oh, a minute, I need to move this so I can see. I bet you don't know that this has been some of the coldest temperatures up in the stratosphere, up in the polar vortex in decades. I did not know that, to be honest. Is it actually that weak? I didn't even know didn't even realise it was at a weak point, to be honest. Hi Gav, how are you doing? Bet that red yeah, exactly. It is. There we go. Right, so that's the ECM. If we have a look at the GFS, now this is a little bit different to what the other runs have been showing. It is a little bit more. I don't really know the word. It's a bit warmer, a bit milder at the beginning. It does eventually bring in the cold snaps. You can see these green colours are indicating around average air masses, typical air masses. Then the cold snap moves in around the 16th, but doesn't really properly get in. It gets a brief milder air mass, and then the colder air mass properly sinks in, and we're into some very cold air masses. -10 line is into Scotland, and anywhere could see snow with this. Typically, probably more in the north and the east, but as you can see, these tightly packed isobars means that it could be quite windy, And also, you'd expect showers in the north and the east, typically with this. But there's tightly backed isobars, and they have little, like, kinks, was a better word for it, which could indicate, like, troughs, but obviously it's a long way off. And things are uncertain. Eventually, the cold air mass does degrade away as the high pressure weakens. And there we go. You see, it tells you the maximum on the whole chart is 10 degrees, so that's for the UK for you. This is, of course, or France possibly, as towards the very end. As you can see, much of Northern Europe with these low pressures and these colder air masses. The maximum on the chart on the 21st at midnight is 5 degrees, which is quite cold for this time of year in any part of the chart. Obviously, that's in the Atlantic there. There's the first time for everything. Yeah. To be fair, that is true. But you have commented on my channel before. How are you doing, Gavin? It seems as though it's a one-on-one conversation. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I need to work out a way to get people to interact a bit more, but I'll work on that as I go along. I'm just getting started, and it's doing quite well, to be fair. But that's it, really. Do I have the icon? No, I don't. I don't have this one, do I? No. Yeah, let's have a look. No, that's not come out yet. Okay. Let me see. Got to spoil my charts now. I've done them all. It's only a short one, this one. It's only a short live stream, this one. But I thought I'd better jump on it. I better jump on it. Jump on not the bandwagon, but jump on it while it's available. The GM, actually, I can show you the precipitation charts. If I don't, this is the GDPS, but it's the GEM. So as you can see, that high pressure over the top, and this is actually one of the cooler runs to begin with. But there's again a little bit of wet weather into parts of England as this weather front clears through. Parts of northern and northwestern Scotland are seeing rain, but quickly fades away. Another band of rain moves through on Saturday, according to this, turning to snow in the north as the colder air moves in on the back edge. And you can see we'll go into the northwesterly to northerly winds, showers turning wintry over Welsh mountains, in far northwestern regions and northern regions of Scotland. Put pressure on me when you join. I'm kidding. And yeah, so showers do begin to turn wintry. Actually, quite a big snow event there, according to the GEM on Wednesday the 20th for northern regions. But obviously, it's a long way off. Yeah, have a nice meal, Gav. Have a nice meal. And yeah, the showers would be a bit more widespread, I'd expect, with this, actually. Showers turn into to snow. You'd expect a bit more widespread than that, obviously, but it's a bit of a way out, and things are varying. If you have a look at the GM very quickly, which I have already shown, but some people might not have been here. But if you're wondering what that was based on, that was the GM run on the chart data. And the northerly winds set in, northwesterly to northerly winds by Monday the 18th of November. And there's a little trough there, could bring winteriness. However, the milder air is still in place, and it's moving away at Roseport. That's my favourite. See, I know. Roseport, one of the best top 3 meals you can have. Anyway, let's move on. The high pressure is building to the west, and low pressure to the east, and winds in from the northwest or north. Very cold. Well, quite cold, actually. Not very cold. But the -5 line isn't properly in. It kind of flirts in and out. So that's why there's not as much winteriness as you might expect. But it still will be cold enough for snow showers. I won't see an issue with that, especially in the north and the east. If there are northwesterly winds, it might allow snow to drift further inland. Okay, see you later, Gav. So there we go. It might allow the northwesterly winds to move in, and if that happens, snow showers may drift further inland, which could bring a little bit more interest, and maybe more central regions, maybe the Midlands, and other areas could see that. It's a long way off. But again, this air mass, this run here shows quite unstable airflows at times. So could be mixing of snow and stuff. You never know. Depends. This low pressure could provide moisture if it was in a right position as well. But it's all to play for. but obviously temperature deviation looks quite cold. We'll go through the ECM charts in 4 minutes and see what they're showing as well. As you can see, there's still some quite cold air to the north towards Greenland. Look at that. Extreme air mass. 10 to 12 degrees below average at the time. Wow, that's quite scary, really. Imagine if you were living there. Ooh. And even parts of Iceland seeing very cold air, -15 line at this time of year. I'm looking forward to seeing the sun again tomorrow. Yeah, I've missed it, to be fair. It's been so dull, especially around where I live. It's been so dull and boring. That's not well. If you talk in weather terms, very boring. Nothing really to show. You know, it's the latest current charts and stuff are just the same. Like, but obviously looking in the long term, it looks way more interesting. But like at the moment, with this high pressure sat and moving in, it actually finally does look a lot better. Obviously, there has been a bit of rain in the north today, by the looks of it. I'd expect a little bit of rain, at least in northern areas, with this slack northwesterly flow. It's been quite sunny here this afternoon. Yeah, it did get a bit sunnier and actually was quite pleasant this afternoon. But it hasn't been great for sunshine hours. I had a look at the sunshine hours on someone on Twitter who I follow was talking about the sunshine levels, and in some regions it hadn't even seen like an hour or 2 hours, more longer than 2 hours of sun in the past like week or even a few up to 10 days. Haven't seen much sun here in Suffolk here, only 1 hour this month. Yeah, that's what I mean. Some parts I haven't seen barely any at all. It's been quite depressing, especially in the southeast. And there has also been a slight inversion, which is where I don't know if some of you know what an inversion is, but it's like the temperatures aloft are quite warm, or even really very, very warm. If it was summer, it would have been 30 degrees. But as there's the warm air aloft, and because of the time of year, an inversion, the stuff gets trapped, and it brings the temperatures down, and it's been like no more than 10 degrees in some parts. Not where raining a bit tonight though. Yeah, I haven't realised, if I'm being honest. I meant for the weather forecast, and I don't even know what the weather is for the next couple of days, to be honest. But what I will say is probably still quite dry. Winds in from the northwest, around the high, but still very high and dry. Not much to say about that, really. Again, could be a few showers actually. I forgot about this. Sorry, I didn't mention this. But there is actually into France, you can see, and just into parts of the southeast, there is a slack trough here, which could bring a couple rain showers into the southeastern regions. As you can see, with a slightly cooler air mass, could be a few showers. We go to the United Kingdom. This is GEM, sorry. And if we have a look at the precipitation, which is like the live thing, there are a couple, I mean, very minimal, but there are a couple of rain showers in parts of the southeast. So if you're needing rain, or if your water butt or your garden's needing rain to water your plants, then that's the perfect. That's just the perfect thing. These actually show a few little rain showers moving into parts of western Scotland, northwestern Scotland, but they are fading away. And yeah, there is actually quite a bit of Jesus. Where's that for? I didn't even notice. When is that for? Is that for when the cold air mass moves? That's when the cold air mass moves in. So obviously, as the high pressure moves away to the west, then obviously there's more room for low pressures to move in, and it allows like a rain shower. So as the colder air moves down, this colder air is bringing down a weather front, which is bringing widespread rain showers. What have you been saying in the chat? The sun has been hiding for sure. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I agree with SJ, Danny V. It's definitely been hiding. It's not been very good recently at all. Compared to what you'd expect as well. You can get some brilliant. Like cold, frosty mornings, and but it's just been very dull, to be honest. Here it's only been 8. Well, like it's been about that here, to be honest. Yeah, we need exactly. It would have been quite warm, like 30 degrees in the summer. I must say though that the last few months we've seen like wrong weather patterns at the wrong time, such as the northerlies in September, which were quite cool for the time of year. But if they happened in December, could have been talking about other things such as snow. But it just depends on the time of the year. The season just can't make up their mind. They can't. To be honest, it's been the wrong weather patterns at the wrong time. I didn't think the summer was that great. Aren't you surprised that someone your age is watching that? Yeah, to be fair, I look at my analytics and it turns out that I do have more of a older age demographic. No offense. It turns out that I do have like a bit of an older age demographic, but I think that's the typical thing of the weather. But if you're interested, I've always been into the weather for quite a few years now, and I've only just developed enough confidence to start making my own videos. But I just find it very interesting, to be honest, and especially when there's developments happening. I just find it really fun, and that's why I do it. My night friend's birthday is on the 19th, so they will be thrilled if it can. I'm sure he will be, yeah. Probably won't, but you never know. Slim chance of it happening. Just depends if the stars align, I guess. But yeah. Right, so we'll have a look at the ECM now. The season just can't make up. Oh, I've read that, yeah. I still agree with that, though. So if I go back and if I reset the page, then we should be good to go with the latest charts for the ECM. There we go. Right. If I put that on there, so obviously we're coming to the end of the lives. Thank you, Dan. I try my best. I'm improving. I feel like these live streams I've improved on, and at least there's some people I can interact with and talk to as well. It's just a bit of fun, really. For me, it's a bit of fun, and I enjoy doing it. And as long as other people enjoy what I'm doing, then that's just fine to me. So yeah, we'll finally look at the ECM forecast. I brought up the same chart twice, like an absolute melon. So we'll put that on there. Then we'll put the temperatures there. Right, okay. So, week 1, the 11th to the 18th of November. I even think of the seasons, please. Jesus, the months. Oh my word. High pressure is over the top and to the west of the country. Low pressure to our north and northeast. And winds are in from the northeast. But again, air masses begin to cool down. As you can see, average to slightly below average in areas of the southeast, southwest in particular, and southern Wales and central northern England, central southern England are all seeing temperatures below average. The only part where it is slightly above average is in the north, where you'd expect precipitation to be slightly higher and more of an influence from the west or the southwest. I do have reports in my school, so I get it as well. Yeah, you know, it's good to do. I think it's a good thing, and I like seeing more people getting involved as well. It's good to see all the comments as well I've been receiving, and the negative ones. And it's quite funny to read the negative ones, to be honest, because some people write some very funny things. I used to take it to heart, but I don't anymore. Thank you to my parents for telling me just stuff them. You know, you're always going to get people that hate, aren't you? Haters going to hate because they've got nothing better to do, these keyboard warriors, but it's funny. Again, week 2, 18th to the 25th of November. So this is when the cold snap's coming. High pressure is in the Atlantic, mid-Atlantic ridge up towards Greenland. And low pressure to the east. And winds are in from the north. Looking cold and possibly even wintry. We'll have to wait and see how that develops. But again, it's good to see. And actually, we're quite close to the centre of the low pressure, according to the ECM. So, mid-Atlantic ridge, extending through the Atlantic up towards Greenland, low pressure to our east, and winds again in from the north. And if this trough is close by, then we could tap into that, and we could see some snow, especially in the eastern areas. But again, as you can see, temperature averages are 1 to 3 degrees below average, and in parts of Scandinavia, Western Scandinavia, up towards Norway, it's about 3 to 6 degrees below average, so looking like a quite cold week for Western Europe, extending down towards France, Spain and Portugal, and as far northwards as Scandinavia. And obviously all the warmer air masses are being pushed away to our east. So, for once, the UK is part of the cold spell area, if this is correct. Week 3, the 25th to the 2nd of 20 25th of November, 2nd of December. And, well, it could be a bit different. I'm not sure, actually. Low pressure towards Scandinavia. We're not sure about around Greenland, but I'd expect low pressure to extend towards Greenland. And high pressure to the south. Winds are probably in from the west or southwest. Let's see how these charts look. Yeah, winds are in from the west. So patterns are reverting, and the high pressure is moving further westwards towards the Canadian side of Greenland, which allows low pressures to break through along the jet stream like this. Winds are in from the west. Yeah. And temperature anomalies are going, oh, actually, they are going a little bit above average in the south. Not too much deviation in the north. Maybe could still be a little bit of an influence from the northwest at times, northwest-southeast alignment, and the jet streams it's carrying the low pressures through the country southwards, which could keep the cooler air masses in. It won't be cold at that time, but could allow a northwesterly tilt. I've just seen, is there a bird in the background? No, I sometimes hear chirp. You'd be right, yes. He does make his noise. I think it's great though. I think it's great. He loves chattering away. It can be quiet through the whole day, and when he starts chattering when I start talking or doing one of my other videos or a live stream, you might hear it sometimes. But I like to keep it, and I could just mute it out, but it adds to the environment of the video. It might send some people crazy though, thinking there's something wrong. It's not my PC. There's nothing wrong with your PC. It's just him. The week 4 will be the take us into December, the 2nd to the 9th of December. There you go. That's a little bit better. High pressure is pulling out to our west, low pressure to the east, and you'd expect with that the winds to come in from more of a northwesterly. Wouldn't be that cold, but be a bit cool and possibly in the north. Again, actually, that shows a little bit more of an extension of the high pressure going close to Greenland, just to the south. Low pressure you'd expect in this white area, as you just saw on these charts. Winds will be in from the northwest, maybe even a northerly at times. Temperature anomalies probably around average. Well, it's still showing slightly above average, but if we look at yesterday's charts for the same date, it was actually going load, actually above average. So things have definitely changed with this period, but it's a long way off, so nothing to worry about. Week 5 will be the 9th to the 16th of December. Don't know why I said it like that. High pressure to the south, low pressure you'd expect up here in this white area to the north. Winds again in from the west. Looks like mild again. In fact, that is showing the high pressure extending towards Scandinavia and extending across the Atlantic and down to parts of down to parts of Spain, maybe even Africa. I'm not too sure on that. Winds would be up from a very mild southwesterly, and it looks quite dry. So you'd expect temperature anomalies to go above average. And they do! Above average. And then finally, the 6th week, 16th to the 23rd of December, above average. I showed the wrong chart. Whoops. There we go. Not too much of a signal. This white area could be low pressure, but obviously it's unknown, really. You don't really know what could be there. Ooh. But again, there's still some high pressure in the Atlantic onto this, and towards the eastern parts of Scandinavia. It could be a bit of a mix, really. Mixed bag. Temperature anomalies, not too much deviation, but there could be a little bit more of a development in the pattern by the looks of things, which could prove a little bit interesting for some people. But we'll have to wait and see what happens, won't we? So yeah, it's been a very good live stream. Thank you all for tuning in. Let me know if there's if you've got any suggestions for the channel, what you'd like to see. Then please do let me know what you think and where I can improve. Should I add some music? Like I was going to add some in the last stream I added some relaxing music, but I don't really know if it added any value to the stream really. Let me know. What are your thoughts on Leon? I bet he has an obsession on the word mate. I know why and what, but I can't say why. I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to comment. But hey, I can't wait to watch it, man. Can you do more winter updates? Well, I mean, I actually just saw that. I'm just at the top. there is a winter update coming up. I think the last one got like a crazy amount of views actually. So yeah, they're definitely doing a few more. It would be something for your budget to chirp along to. Maybe add some dripping rain music. Could do or something. I had like I've got like a playlist from my other channels. I could just add that in to the streams. That could make it more interesting, couldn't it? Yeah, I feel like I'm slouching. Sorry, everyone. You can hear it now. Yeah, he's woke up. Bloody hell. Get back to sleep. Nah, he's alright, isn't he? He's not too loud, I hope. Like, if I go to my settings, I can turn it off. But, like, what's the fun in that? Come on. What's the fun in turning him off? Come on. But, yeah. Oh, wow, the stream just lost a load of viewers. Probably because people started hearing the budget. It's killing the channel off. Nah, but yeah. Oh, I hope you all enjoyed this stream. Let me know what you thought to it. If you've got any suggestions, please do drop them. Like I said, either in the comment section when I've uploaded the stream, or drop it in the live chat now, because I'll be around for a couple of minutes if anyone's got any burning questions or anything. But I think it's a good way to end. We've just reached the hour mark. So thank you all for watching. Please do subscribe and hit the bell notification if you enjoy my content. And please, can you also check out Gav's channel? I mean, probably most of you are subscribed, but he promoted me on his live stream, and I've got to give him a shout out, haven't I? You know, it's only fair. And cheers to him for giving us the shout and getting my channel out there in the first place, and it's doing really well, taking off. So cheers all for watching. Thanks SGM. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next weather video. Last stream. I don't know yet, but I'm going to make a proper schedule anyway. Anyway, I'm waffling on, so I'll see